Hello everybody, this is Kay and welcome to my channel, Junking with Gigi. I have a flip through video to share with you today. This is a journal I've been working on for quite some time. My closure for this journal is just some gold tulle with a little bit of gold sparkles in it. I'm gonna set that to the side. So this is a hardcover journal that I repurposed a book cover for. I used a dry brush acrylic paint technique on the cover that I got inspired to try by DJ at Hither and Yon Studios. She did this technique in one of her videos recently and I wanted to try it. So these are just laser cut wood bird pieces here on the front, and then my signatures, when I sewed them in, I decided to try this with something kind of new too, putting beads on the spine as I sewed in my signatures. So these are some kind of a stone bead, and then these are just some gold plated, not real gold obviously, but metal beads, base metal beads here. This has 3 signatures, and let's see, it measures approximately 6 by 9. Okay, so I have a pocket that I made here with some lace covered scrapbook paper and my little note that I put in all my journals explaining what to do with a junk journal. I used some kind of boho scrapbook papers for the first pages in my signatures, and I made little pocket pages out of those. I have a giant "This Journal Belongs To" tag in this first pocket. I was thinking about adhering it here, but I didn't like the way that looked, and I just decided to leave it loose and let whoever ends up owning this do what they want with that. Okay, I've got some coffee dyed tissue paper here with a little stenciled butterfly image. I've used some magazine papers throughout, and this is one of those papers that comes from the Somerset Studio magazine. On the back side of that, I have a little cluster previously made and a little journaling spot with its own little tuck spot here. And I've made up some cards with some decoupaged napkin on top, image from a magazine. Coffee dyed paper. This is kind of a half-page magazine pocket with some things tucked into it, a little tag there. This tag is one of those little expanding pocket things with tiny little tickets in each of those. Tea-dyed graph paper. This is one of those little hidden journaling spots, so that it looks like a little pocket, but when you take that out, that lifts up, so kind of a secret journaling spot piece, like that. And then the bottom one flips up as well. This is just manuscript paper here, a little tuck spot with one of my hidden paper clips and kind of a layered dangle tags and some metal components there. I'm going to go back through when I'm done and put everything back together and not take the time to do that now. A magazine page. This is one of those double side pocket pages, and I've got some different tags and journaling cards tucked into all of those pockets. I actually have a video on making, this one's stuck, on making these double side pocket folios if you're interested in looking at that. Okay, and that was the middle of the signature. This is a belly band here I just made with some fabric that was kind of like crocheted looking, and I stitched all along it. And I just have tucked under here a little vintage book page. It's kind of a devotion. Just tuck that under there. This was an embossed piece that I had, and I just took some silver acrylic paint and lightly kind of brushed over that with my finger just to make that stand out and sparkle a little bit. I don't know if that, how well that's picking up on camera. On the back side of that, I put a little corner pocket and I tucked in a little piece of ephemera. This is one of those Tim Holtz little ephemera cards. Manuscript paper. I've got an envelope here on this page, and this was just one of those little shaker elements I made with some glitter and some sequins inside. This came from some packaging we had. I don't remember what was actually in the package, but, and then I have some embossed paper on the back of that. Just an interesting little element. There is a little journaling space around here, or it can be removed and used somewhere else. It just tucks into that envelope. More tissue paper. I've got a little postcard tucked in to this pocket, and that's the first signature. Second signature, another little card tucked in there. This, I coffee dyed this one. It was very bright white. And I don't mind a little bit of bright white. Obviously, I've got a little bit of that throughout here. But I don't like everything to be all white. Tissue dyed, or tissue paper that I have a little gold ribbon edging on. Okay, here's another one of those side pocket folios. Tag there, a little journaling spot on that one. This is a little magazine image. I backed it onto some craft paper. You can see that there. And then I just attached it to this page with a brad and kind of left it a little bit loose so it can spin around. And I didn't cover the back so it can actually be removed too. This is a piece of paper from some type of a pattern book I picked up at a thrift store. I've got a little magazine image tuck spot here. I made this little kind of glassine bag out of some tissue paper, which I painted over with some matte gel to make it a little bit more translucent and almost glassine-like. I just have a little journaling page tucked into that. This is a collaged corner pocket. And then I have another collage piece in here. This is a little shiny because I used some Mod Podge on this. And I made my photo corners, but I left my photo corners kind of open on the back side so I could tuck in another little piece. Another little tuck spot. This was a greeting card. And I just used a die cut to cut that out and put some vellum in there. And I have another one of those floral postcards tucked into that. A little interesting piece of a ephemera tucked under that belly band. A little book page pocket with a journaling spot. Here's the other side of that double side pocket. And on this one I just have one of those little scrappy notepads, kind of the cascading notepad, and a little interesting piece of ephemera. This is a stencil. This is actually the same paint that I used on the cover. I just had a little extra, so I used it to stencil this floral image on the side of this page. Tissue paper with some more of that ribbon. A magazine image, and I just put a little, I had a few scraps of paper left over from making my first pages of my signatures, and I just put that one on this page and put an eyelet in there and added a little dangle with a couple tags and a button and a little embroidery flower. And this is the last page of that second signature. And in the third signature, I have in this front pocket, this is some coffee dye or tea dyed paper that I crumpled up. And I really like the effect this gives. It's very soft for one thing. but you dip it in your tea dye, then you crumple it up into a ball, and you let it dry like that, and it makes interesting little patterns with the tea in those crinkles on that paper. So I had a lot of fun making those papers that day. Another little magazine image, manuscript paper, one more of those double side pockets. This is a leftover piece I had from when I made these pockets on the inside of the cover. I covered them with lace, but I had some left over, so I just cut that into a tag shape and tucked that into that pocket. This is another one of those little decoupaged pieces of scrapbook paper with the leaf. And I also took my acrylic pen and just kind of outlined it just to help it stand out a little better. Brushed over it with some black ink. Another page from that pattern book. Tissue paper. On this one, I did the belly band in kind of a horizontal, and I have one of those over the page flip pieces with a little pocket on the inside and a tag in there. This was another card that a friend of mine had given me, and I have that kind of over the page, so it's a pocket on the front and the back of this page. And I just have a piece of tea dyed paper in there. And on the back side of this, I made another little pocket here with another piece of that leftover scrapbook paper, and I tucked in one of these little fold down faux envelope looking things with a little brad. This is our eyelet. It's not an eyelet, but you set it like an eyelet. It's just a embellishment, I guess. And here's the other part of that belly band with another little dangle, kind of a tag dangle with a little gold piece on there. Here's the other half of that crumpled tea dye paper. And this is actually a double pocket. I just don't have something in both of those pockets. And the other half of that pattern paper. The other half of that double side pocket. One more piece of that scrapbook paper. And this is a little homemade little bag with some stenciling. And I just tucked in a little things to do card in there. Manuscript paper, magazine image, coffee dyed, and then in the last pocket of this last signature, I have another one of those little flippy cascading notepads. And last but not least, the inside of the back cover is another one of those lace covered pockets like in the front, and I have some tea dyed, I think this is like architectural graph paper, and this is a piece of some watercolor paper that I did with some pearlescent type watercolors. I just have those tucked into that back pocket. And that is it. I will put the link to my Etsy shop in the description box below if you're interested in going and looking at this and the other items I have in my shop. Thank you so much for watching today, and have a blessed day.